Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. In today's video, we're taking a look at two new instruction sets by Jepaz that I picked up on Rebrickable. Really big fan of Jepaz's work, and these two instruction sets look amazing on their own, but are additions to his LEGO Sawmill series. The series consists of 8 instruction sets, which are going to go together to form an uber sawmill complex using mills modules. And these instruction sets are numbers 4 and 5 in that series, so still 3 more instruction sets to come. Now, to refresh your guys' memory on where all these modules go in the overall footprint, you'll see the drying kiln goes over here on this side, and then we've got the camp cars down here on the bottom. Last time we looked at the pump house and the powerhouse, and we've also taken a look at the log dump on this end here where it connects in with a railway line. A really amazing complex, and really liking how different all the different structures and components are to this complex, and how true to real life Jepaz is keeping this with all of his modeling. And here's another view of the entire sawmill scene that he has posted out as part of the pictures on the instruction page on Rebrickable. You can see what I'm saying about just the really cool wide variety of structures, landscape, etc. around the entirety of this complex. And I really like the fact that he's got this hooked into a rail line here. Should allow us some interesting opportunities for having trains moving in and around this complex when we build it. So first off, let's take a closer look at the camp cars. Really like the idea behind this set of mills modules here. The idea being that lumber camps tend to be a fairly transient, area where work is being done. So they have these train cars with temporary sleeping areas, eating areas, etc. for the workers. So there's 7 different cars here, and there's a bunk car, a dining car, a kitchen car, an office space. Really just impressive to see the wide variety of different train car interiors. Love the fact that they've got temporary stairs going up to the doors on them. Just feels very realistic, and really impressive to see the different rooftops as well that he has put onto these various cars. You can see the different roof areas there, different sets of windows depending on the function of the car. And from the interiors that I've looked at so far, some really nice details in there as well. So, just overall a really interesting set of modules to form this portion of the sawmill complex. And, like I was saying, I think it's really cool that in the greater complex, we've got the rail line here that's dropping off logs for the sawmill. But I think it's really neat that there's another set of rail track over here that we can have some different functionality with. And, just would be interesting as well, even just to see how easy it would be to pull some of these cars around the layout as if they are being, sort of ferried to the work area. So really interesting. Love the fact that we're getting some interesting railway components to the modules in this sawmill. So really happy overall with the look of this particular set of instructions. Couple of other interesting points for the camp cars. One, it says that the total number of parts required for this set of modules here is $9,278 for an estimated price of $1,263. That's a lot, but there's actually a lot that you're building here, and I think there's some good flexible ways that I can look at, potentially reducing the cost of that in the short term. One, Jepaz, when he includes his part lists with the instructions that you buy, you get a parts list that is everything for the entire build, but there's also a parts list that is only mills, and there's one for only vegetation, and then one for the core part of the build, which is great. Gives you some flexibility. If I've already got all the mills modules created that I need for the particular instruction set, then I don't need to worry about trying to filter out the parts that are specifically for mills modules, because that can be done just when I'm loading the parts list into Bricklink. So really appreciate that, super handy. I could also consider in the short term potentially not doing the interior parts of the car. As long as the exteriors are done, that probably gives me everything that I need, at least in the short term, for the module. So things to consider there. I'll just have to do some research on my own to figure out, in my area, how hard are some of these parts going to be to get, and what is the shipping likely to be, and then we can see what the true cost is for us here. Another interesting point, this particular set of instructions results in a module that is 2 base plates wide, roughly, by 6 base plates long. So 2 base plates in this dimension, 6 that way. It's a pretty big, sizable chunk of space, but when you consider everything that's going to be on those modules, really, really worthwhile to have that space. I think this is going to be really cool. And like I said, nice to have different parts of this particular complex that can plug into different areas on our layout. Always interesting when you can have different places or areas for the trains to go as they move around the layout, depending on what their function is and what particular spots they are looking to get to or interact with. I do think it would be interesting to see ultimately how easy it will be to take the stairs off on these train cars. I could see, potentially being able to sometimes pull them around the layout, but not entirely sure how permanent they are in their spots and how easy that would be, but that would be kind of fun to periodically have a train pulling those cars around. It's just a different sort of load for trains to have periodically on the layout. But overall, really excited about the potential of the camp cars section of the sawmill. Now on to the drying kiln. Again, I mentioned this earlier. It's really cool to see how varied these different sort of modules and components of the sawmill are, and the drying kiln really fits that bill. In terms of parts, this particular one needs 2,223 for an estimated build price of $335. Same thing applies as the camp cars. There is some flexibility there. I can choose to exclude the mills parts or the vegetation and just build the core components that I need and make use of mills modules that I already have ready and waiting to go. So nice to have that option, and we'll kind of see as we move through the builds what parts are required and if there's any things that I can sort of prune out of there in the short term, or maybe even in the long term. Maybe there's a few things that we can swap based on parts that we already have in our collection. So we'll just have to see how that goes. In terms of the size of this particular module, this is roughly 1 base plate wide this way, and then roughly 3 base plates that way. Really like the fact that this module has a number of different buildings, both in size and function from some of the other modules. Love this tower right here. I assume this is a water tower, but really, really cool structure. Love the fact there's a little shed over here, and there's another shed in behind the main building right there. And cool to see the platform area coming out in front of the drying kiln there as well. Like I said, it's nice to see different sizes of buildings, different shapes, different sort of layouts. Adds a lot of variety across not only the layout as a whole, but this subsection really adds a lot of visual interest, I think, and it's cool to see just those variances in the buildings as you're looking around the entirety of the sawmill. And I continue to be really excited to see how the masonry brick, the dark red masonry brick, looks for this build. That's the sort of the brick of choice that I think I'm going to use for all of the buildings, and I think it should be very impressive. Module to module, but also looking at the sawmill in its entirety. So, really cool. Again, some options if I want to leave some stuff out on the interior in the short term, or if I want to, make some modifications there, that's an option as well. And I think I've mentioned this before, but I really do like the fact that Jeff includes a number of vegetation options throughout the different modules here. It's not something that you have to build. You could put your own vegetation in, but if you're interested in trying out some of the different tree and vegetation options that Jeff has designed, really cool to be able to pick up some of them in a set like, or an instruction set like this. So love the inclusion of that, and a nice little sort of side benefit and option that you're getting from this particular instruction set. So overall, really happy with these two latest additions to the Sawmill series by Jepaz. These are instruction sets 4 and 5, and there are 8 total for the Sawmill. So we're waiting on 3 more instruction sets to get released. We've got the 2 components here that make up the main area for the sawmill itself. And then there's this little area back over here, which is the 3rd set of instructions. So still quite a bit to come for the, in terms of instruction sets for the facility itself, but really looking forward to seeing those based on how great everything else has been. And once we have all 8 sets of instructions, we will start working on collecting some of the parts together for this. Be a lot of mills modules, a lot of parts, and we're going to need to work out how we're going to fit this into the underneath layout here in the Lego room, because it's not going to fit on the upper layout, at least as we have it set up right now. But I think this is going to be a really cool area to have. It'll be a lot of fun to try to integrate it here in the Lego room into the layout, but should be a lot of fun to take out to shows as well. So, overall, really happy with the direction Jeff is going in with this instruction series. I'll include a link below to the Rebrickable page for Jepaz, and you can find the first 5 sets of sawmill instructions there, in addition to all the other great instruction sets he's already released in the past for trains, buildings, vegetation, etc. Lots of great things to see there. We've got a number of his structures around the layout currently, and several more that are planned to be added. So, really happy with the work that he does, and looking forward to really jumping into assembling this sawmill. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.